Have you got lost in the maze of adding and subtracting rational numbers? Adding and subtracting rational numbers might be tricky, but with a bit of guidance, it becomes a breeze. Let's see. Okay, so let's start adding and subtracting rational numbers. Again, a quick intro of a rational number. Rational number is a number that can be written as a simple fraction or like a ratio. For example, if you have a number 5, we can write 5 as 5 over 1, 1.75 as 7 over 4, 0.001 is 1 over 1000, 0.1 repeating is 1 over 9. All these can be written as a fraction. So these numbers are all rational numbers. Now we'll see how to add these rational numbers together. One of the conditions for a rational number is that the denominator cannot be 0. Since a rational number can be written as a fraction, we can use rules for adding fractions and subtracting fractions. Before we jump onto the rules for adding and subtracting fractions, we'll see how to add and subtract numbers using the number line. In this chart, we have 5 different scenarios, and we'll see how to accomplish this addition and subtraction using the number line. The very first one, we have 2 positive numbers. Now, when you use the number line, we always first identify the first number, which in this case is 3. So we just mark the first number 3. Now, we need to add 4 with this 3. To add a positive integer or any number, we move to the right of the number line. So we move 4 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, we get 7. So this is how we add a positive integer or positive number on the number line. Next, we have addition of a negative number. Now you can add a negative number to a negative number or a positive number. So here we have negative 3 plus negative 4, and here we have 3 plus negative 4. We can see that we are adding a negative number each time. The rule is still the same. To add a negative integer, we move to the left of the number line. First, we mark down the initial number. Here, we mark down negative 3 over here. Over here, we mark down 3. Since we are adding a negative integer, we are moving 4 units to the left. So moving 4 units to the left gives us negative 7, and moving 4 units from this 3 gives us negative 1. This is how we add a negative integer using the number line. Now we'll see how to subtract a negative integer. Now subtracting a negative integer is the opposite of adding a negative integer. So to subtract a negative integer, we move to the right on the number line. So over here we have 3. So we mark down the initial number, subtract negative 4. So we move 4 units to the right. Now you can see that this is same as this one. So 3 minus negative 4. These two signs, minus and negative sign, can be compressed into a positive sign. So 3 plus 4, which equals 7. So you can see that both these scenarios are basically the same. Now we have the last scenario over here. We want to subtract a positive number. So to subtract a positive number, we move to the left on the number line. So here we have negative 3. So we mark down this negative 3 minus 4. So we move 4 units to the left, which gives us negative 7. Now again, this scenario of subtracting a positive integer is same as adding a negative integer. Understanding this strategy is helpful because you can see how addition and subtraction take place on the number line. Now, with this understanding, let's move on to the addition of 2 rational numbers. To add the rational numbers, first we make sure that the bottom numbers or the denominators are the same. Then we add the top numbers by putting the answer over the denominator, and then simplify the fraction if possible. So let's see an example over here. We have 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4. We can see that both these fractions, the denominators are not same, and we need to make the denominator same. Now here is a quick strategy. To make the denominator same, we simply multiply each fraction with the other denominator. So multiply this fraction 1 over 3 with the other denominator, which is 4 and 4, and multiply this with the other denominator, which is 3 and 3. By doing this, we get the same denominator on each fraction. We have 1 times 4 over 3 times 4 plus 1 times 3 over 4 times 3, which simplifies to 4 over 12, because 1 times 4 is 4, 3 times 4 is 12, and 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. Now add these two fractions together by having the same denominator. So 4 plus 3 over 12. Add the numerator, that is 7 over 12. So this fraction is not simplifiable anymore. So this is our answer. Similar strategies can be applied for subtraction as well. We make sure that the bottom numbers are same, and then subtract the top numbers, the numerators, and we put that answer over the same denominator. Step number 3 is simplify the fraction if required. Let's see this example. We have 2 over 5 minus 1 over 4. So we multiply each fraction with the other denominator. So we get 2 times 4 over 5 times 4 minus 1 times 5 over 4 times 5. So 2 times 4 gives us 8. 5 times 4 gives us 20. Minus 1 times 5 is 5. 4 times 5 is 20. Now that the denominator is same on both fractions, we can simply write these as a single fraction by subtracting the top number. 8 minus 5 is 3 over 20. Now this 3 over 20 is not simplifiable anymore. So this is the final answer. Now let's look at some practice examples to make sure that we understand the concept very well. Here we'll see how to add or subtract rational numbers. So the problem statement says evaluate each expression. The first one is negative 1 whole 1 over 3 minus 7 over 5. In this case, we can see that negative 1 whole 1 over 3 is a mixed fraction. So anytime we have a mixed fraction, we convert this into an improper fraction. So negative 1 whole 1 over 3, you can write this as 1 times 3, that is 3. 3 plus 1, that is negative 4. So we have negative 4 over 3. Now this negative 4 over 3 minus 7 over 5. Now we can see that we have a subtraction over here, so we'll follow these subtraction rules. So the first step to subtract the fraction is we make sure that the bottom numbers are the same. Now to make the bottom numbers same, we multiply each fraction by the other denominator. So for this first fraction, we can multiply these by 5, which is the other denominator. And we can multiply this fraction by the 3, which is the other denominator. Now if we simplify, we get 5 times negative 4, that is negative 20 over 15 minus 7 times 3, that is 21 over 15. Now our second step is subtract the top numbers, the numerators. Now we can do the subtraction. Remember, since the bottom number is same, we can write this 15 as a single denominator now. Now we subtract the top numbers, negative 20 minus 21. So this subtraction is following the rule of negative minus positive. So we have negative 20 minus 21. So we basically just add those two magnitudes. So in this case, it's just 41, and we keep the negative sign in front of 41. So this is negative 41 over 15. This is how we do the subtraction in this fraction. Now let's look at another problem. Now let's look at this second problem over here. Here we have two mixed fractions. Negative 3 whole 1 over 2 minus negative 1 whole 3 over 5. So to start off, we convert these two mixed fractions into improper fraction. So this one, we put the negative sign. 3 times 2, that is 6. 6 plus 1, that is 7 over 2, minus, we have 5 times 1 plus 3. So 5 plus 3, that is 8 over 5. Remember to put the negative sign in front. Now you can see that we have a minus and negative sign. So these two signs will cancel out and give out a plus sign. So we can rewrite this as negative 7 over 2 plus 8 over 5. Now we can see that this is an addition. So we follow the rule of addition in this case. Now let's see how we can do that. Again, the first step is we make sure that the bottom numbers are the same. So how can we make the bottom numbers same? So the strategy is you multiply each fraction by the other denominator. So let's see how we can do that over here. I'll multiply this first fraction by 5 on the top and 5 at the bottom, and multiply this second fraction by 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Now we get 5 times negative 7, that is negative 35, over 5 times 2, that is 10, plus 8 times 2, that is 16, over 5 times 2, that is 10. Now that the bottom numbers are same, we can just write this as a single denominator, that is 10, and we just add the top numbers. So negative 35 plus 16. So this is this third scenario. We can see that this is a subtraction and we put the sign of the greatest number. So we just subtract 35 and 16, that is 17. And since the magnitude of 35 is greater than the magnitude of 16, we put the minus sign. So minus 17 over 10. We know by commutative property of addition, we can switch the order of the number. So here negative 35 plus 16 can be written as 16 plus negative 35, and it will still give the same answer, negative 17 over 10. So this negative 17 over 10 is the answer for the second problem. Now let's look at this third problem over here. Here we have 1 over 4 minus negative 2 whole 1 over 3. Again, we can see that we have a subtraction over here. Now this subtraction sign and this negative sign can be combined together to make it positive. So you can write this as 1/4 plus 2 whole 1 over 3. Now we can see that this has turned into an addition. So we are doing addition of the fractions. Again, we make sure that when you add fractions, the fractions are in proper or improper form. Now this 2 whole 1 over 3 is a mixed fraction. So you can convert this into an improper fraction. 2 times 3, that is 6. 6 plus 1, that is 7. 7 over 3. Now we apply the first step, that is make sure the bottom numbers are the same. Now to make the bottom number same, again we apply the strategy, multiply each fraction by the other denominator. Now we multiply this by 3, and this one we multiply by 4. So if we do that, we get 3 times 1, that is 3, and 3 times 4, that is 12, plus 7 times 4, that is 28, and 3 times 4, that is 12. Now you can keep the same denominator, which is 12, and add the top numbers, 3 plus 28. Now this is the addition of two positive numbers at the very top, positive plus positive. So you can just add 3 plus 28, that is 31 over 12. Perfect. Okay, so let's see this last problem over here. Here we have a whole number. We have 1 minus 3 over 2. Now you can see that this 1 is not written as a fraction. Now remember that any natural numbers, whole numbers, or integers can be written as a fraction by putting 1 at the denominator. So you can write this 1 as 1 over 1 minus 3 over 2. Now you can see that these fractions are already simplified. That means we don't have any mixed fraction. Now we do our next step, that is we get the same denominator at the bottom. To do that, we multiply each denominator by the other denominator. So we multiply this one by 1 and we multiply this one by 2. Now if you simplify 2 times 1, that is 2 over 2, and 3 times 1, that is 3, and 2 times 1, that is 2. You can see that we have the same denominator. So in this case, you can see that we have a subtraction over here. So we are applying the subtraction rule. Keep the same denominator, which is 2 in this case, and subtract the top numbers. 2 minus 3. 2 minus 3, you can see that we have a positive number over here and we are subtracting another positive number. Now this is the third scenario that we have over here. We have a positive number plus a negative number. You can see that 3 plus negative 4, if you distribute the sign, plus and minus can be distributed to a minus sign. So 3 minus 4, this is same as subtraction of a positive number from a positive number. So 2 minus 3 is fitting into the same criteria. We are actually adding a positive number and a negative number. This can be written as 2 plus negative 3, which is basically negative 1. And we have 2 at the denominator. So our answer is negative 1/2. And there you have it. Remember, each step of our learning brings us closer to algebraic mastery. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, let's get to study.